Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast powered by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead for them and their companies. I'm your host, Amar Elm, and in each episode, we uncover the stories behind impactful ventures, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future growth. Today, we are absolutely thrilled to have Maarij Zeeshan, the founder and CEO of BeFound Social. This is a digital marketing agency specializing in scaling startups and personal brands through funnels and social media. With over $1 million in results generated for clients, Mohammed has built a reputation for delivering results-driven strategies that helps businesses grow their online presence and ultimately their revenue. My friend, welcome to Founders Future.
Awesome, man. Great to be here.
I'm excited to have you. I always like to start from the beginning. So take us back to before you started your company. What were you doing at that time, and what was the motivation behind starting BeFound Social?
Awesome, man. So, this whole journey started back when I was still in uni. So, before I became an agency owner, I was a freelancer. So, I grew up in a family of 9 to 5ers. So, no one around me, no one in my family ever ran businesses.
Mm,
So, throughout my life, I've always thought, looked at the top 1% and always thought, what differentiates them from the rest? Because if you look at an average top, anyone in the top 1% or so, you'll notice majority, if not all, have businesses. They run businesses. Businesses are the biggest avenue to get to that stage. So I always thought, because I had this ever longing interest in psychology as well. So you can say both things coupled together, and it led me to start diving deep into marketing.
mm,
So specifically towards copywriting and ghostwriting. So now ghostwriting specifically is like a niche within copywriting, and that too I was doing for founders and CEOs. So if you gel up all together, what I used to do is I used to invite founders, CEOs, coaches, and have these one-to-one ghostwriting calls with them. I used to call them hidden podcasts, something similar to what we're doing right now, but in private. Reason it was in private is because I wanted to get their most raw, true version of themselves. And I used to ask them questions about their backstory, about their life, and particularly questions that made them uncomfortable. Now,
yeah,
the reason for that is so that I really, for two reasons. Number one, I notice a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of founders, a lot of high performers. They're really good
yeah,
at executing, but they find it very difficult to translate their impact, their learnings, lessons, whatever, into words, into their
yeah,
personal brand. Now, I personally believe if you have these, most high performance are great leaders. So, how do we create a culture of where followers, we have more leaders than followers?
mm,
So, that was essentially the goal,
yeah,
understanding how they think, what puts them ahead, and helping them translate their mission into their personal brand that
yeah,
others can perhaps benefit from. So that's essentially how I started off. Then, as I went on, as I worked with some great people, I've had the privilege to work with some people at Microsoft, at Vice, Bitcoin. Some became consultants at Deloitte. Some ran their own startups. Some got funded by VCs. Like I've worked in like a lot of different regions, and I've had the privilege, I would say, to work with these people. So yeah, that's getting different mindsets, different perspectives all around the globe. That pretty much I learned a lot from that. So
yeah.
that's how I initially started.
That's huge. You were in university when you were a freelancer, correct?
Correct. Yeah,
What were you studying?
I was studying economics actually. Economics.
Okay. Okay, so nothing to do with marketing, just kind of business. Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
So walk me through what made you decide to land on the niche that you're in right now in BeFound when you're working with startups, personal brands. What is why that? How did you get to that?
That is a very good question. So what happened was initially when I was working on my business, working as a freelancer, so I realized a lot of my whole business was tied to my creative input. So meaning like writing is a very creative task.
Mm,
That's why you see businesses. Now this is a part of my analysis that you see all of these AI tools. Every AI tool or every update that comes in the industry, they go big when they try to automate creative production.
mm,
So The reason is because creative production is what takes the biggest juice out of my brain. Now, if I want to relate it to my aspect, writing is something I enjoy, but
Yeah.
for me, it was something like the moment I get sick, the moment I'm injured, the moment anything happens, my business is shut down. So I wanted to detach myself from my mind from my business. As weird as it sounds, I just wanted to detach my mind from my business. So how do I do that? So what I did was I tried to find scalable solutions. Then I went towards organic, towards Facebook ads, towards funnels, things that you can build once and then you can sell, tweak it a little bit, and then you distribute at a large volume. So that's something that eventually I went into towards something you can build once, create assets, and have your whole marketing and your whole services circulate through those assets.
I love it. Walk us through, help the listeners understand today, who is your ICP? What kind of businesses do you work with? And what are the different offers and services that you provide?
Awesome. So I work with a lot of different companies, but I would say particularly right now, I think my headline that would summarize who I'm working with, but mostly industry-wise AI. We're working with some of the biggest names in the AI space. I don't want to name those because they may come as guests in the future, but great people. Because number one, I truly believe AI is gonna revolutionize the world. Sounds cliche, but it all because it already is. But this is just the start of it. So number one, anyone in the AI. So this could be AI creators, individual personal brands, or AI agency owners, or AI startups. We've have worked with all three, and I've seen like all three. As long as the product is great, we help them scale it to the next level. And the second one would be personal brands. And the reason personal brands not limited to AI, but more towards
Yeah.
the you can say towards the consulting industry. Now I'll tell you the reason why. Because I feel even though AI is great, but as AI is going to proceed more and advance more and more in the future, we're going to face a huge challenge. A challenge that we're seeing right now with Google's new update as well. And that is AI deception. And that is, for example, anyone who creates any sort of creative output through AI, sooner or later we won't be able to deter what's true or what's not.
Yeah.
We're going to enter an era of mass volume of AI generated content. I'm sure you must have heard the dead internet theory. So we're stepping towards that. So now what can we do? There are only so much regulations that these conglomerates, these multinationals can put out. What can we do? So in that sense, from a business perspective, what I think next in the next stage of AI in business, personal brands are going to take over.
Yeah.
So the anyone who creates a personal brand right now in today's age, that is going to be the trust factor compared to any other creator. Because I can't tell if sooner or later I won't be able to tell if an AI creator is AI or not. Are they real or are they not? So that's why we want to work on building relations with
Yeah.
personal brands, genuine personal brands that we believe are out to build out a good mission, and then perhaps work with them to scale their mission across.
AI deception is actually very crazy. I'll talk to ChatGPT and it'll give me an answer, and I know that's not the right answer. And I'm like, why did you say that? We both know that's false. And it's, oh, you caught me. I'm like, what?
So,
This is nuts. This is nuts. So it's definitely something to be concerned about, but also
yeah.
aware of. Okay. So you work with AI companies, but then also personal brands, people in the consulting space. How do you actually work with them? What are the different offers and services? Let's say I'm one of these companies and
Mhm.
I'm listening to this right now, and I'm like, okay, what's your offer essentially? Help me understand that.
Yeah, awesome. So let's say if you are, let's take an AI creator, for example, right? So what I would right now do, most creators, they typically struggle with the monetization part of things. So if
Mm,
you can do all the research, you can check it all out. They're great at generating traffic,
yeah,
but they're typically crappy, mind my French, but they're typically crappy at converting those. So how do we get
yeah,
them to convert? So that's where we would step in. So what I would do is, Amar, if let's say you're an AI creator, I would go in, I would have a call with you, I will check your all of your existing assets. And then I would see what kind of different offerings you have. Okay, now let's say you're just doing brand sponsorships, right? So brand sponsorships is something very direct. Do you have a done for you offer? Do you do coaching? Do you help people let's say people that you were in your space 2 years ago, something you're helping your past self, you can do coaching for them who want to be where you are. Then
Yeah.
could be a done with you. This could be something mid ticket, something around a couple $100 or so. You can help them. You can. This could be more of like a one-to-one consultation thing, and then
Yeah.
would be a do-it-yourself offer. So will help you build out this whole offer ladder, and we'll basically our business will embed into yours. We'll help you map each of these things out. Then the good thing is some things you will already have within your Google Drive. Some things you already have built out, but you won't know. So we'll help you map out your entire offer ladder and then perhaps reach out to specific people at specific price points and help you monetize those every step of the way. So the good thing is you already, let's assume you already have traffic. So you can already tap into your existing network and boom, no cost, no ads, nothing. You can just put something up, put up a low ticket product and have buyers in your list. So essentially depends from case to case. Now this is as if you are an AI creator. Now, let's say if you're an AI agency, specifically, let's say you're an AI SaaS agency, right? So now SaaS companies usually deal in two sides, the B2B side and of course the user acquisition side. So we typically like to initially at early stage startups, we help them in the user acquisition side. So people, you must have seen if you're doom scrolling through Facebook or Instagram, you must have seen a lot of quest funnels that go on, especially for SaaS companies. So quest funnels specifically for certain niches perform substantially well. So if let's say we step in and we help you as an AI SaaS company, we'll launch these different funnels, we'll launch these different ads, these campaigns, help you acquire those users. So there was like this AI recruitment company that we were working with, and in fact they were facing the same issue. They stepped in into the market early stage, had limited funding, so right now they needed to get traction. We launched a couple of campaigns, solidified what they have to do, and built out their back end model, and then essentially started running ads specifically towards their market. Now,
Mhm.
I might be going too deep into the rabbit hole, but when it comes to marketing to different industries or demographics or markets, one thing you might want to check out is the habitual patterns of those markets. Like, for example, if a lot of people you might have seen in Western industries, like you might have seen Andrew Tate, Ty Lopez, all these big names, you must have seen them flash their big mansions, their cars, and what's not. Usually, I'm making general observations here, but
Mhm.
stereotypes. But typically in Western markets, they're more lifestyle oriented. 19-year-old millionaires everywhere, but you won't remember their name. You
Yeah.
remember Andrew Tate, you remember Ty Lopez,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
big names.
That's
But if you
very true.
go towards, let's say, markets like more, you can say third world countries, they're not lifestyle oriented as much as they're money oriented. So price objections, anything related to price, that's their sole decision maker. So you really need to understand which market are you really tapping into and what patterns are they mostly, you can say, habituated with, you can say.
For you, do you mainly work with clients in the West, in North America, Europe, that kind of stuff? Or where is your main clientele?
Honestly, it's actually 50-50 as we speak. Yeah, most
Okay.
of like either they're in, like if I were to categorize them into different continents, I half of my clients are in the Middle East, half of them are in North America. So that's take of that
Got
what you will.
Yeah, no, that's great. Middle East is can be deceptive because you've got Dubai,
Yeah,
you've got Riyadh.
yeah, exactly. So you can say Saudi and UAE mostly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, very cool. So walk me through, let's say I am one of these different companies, right? Let's say I'm an AI SaaS agency, and I understand that you have different offers depending on the different businesses and what they specifically need. What does an actual client engagement look like when it comes to us working together from start to finish? Is that a
Mhm.
3 month thing, 6 month thing, less, more? And also, what are the different check-in points just to help the listeners get a holistic understanding? And do you have a team as well? So walk me through that.
Yeah. Yeah, awesome. So when you say client engagement, do you mean from the sales process part or once, let's say, we start
Mm,
working together?
yeah, let's say we start working together. We send you we Stripe link, whatever it is, Wire, whatever it is. All right, let's start working together. What does it look like from that point?
Awesome, awesome. So first things first, what happens is we have a 14-day onboarding process. So for
Okay.
example, you fill in the Stripe link. So in the first onboarding period, we help you fill out an onboarding form that just encapsulates each and everything about your business, your tone, your voice. We ask some out of the box questions. Like for example, if you were a celebrity, what would you be? If you were in an animate object, what would you be and why? Reason is because usually when it comes to writing and marketing, a lot of things come subjective. So
Yeah.
through analogies, we really understand where you're coming from. So onboarding form filled out. Then what happens is we set up your content management system. So in fancy words, it is just like a portal that we create on Notion. Once that's done, then we share also, by the way, all of this happens in real time. We share all the updates that happen through email and whatnot.
Yep.
So 14 days onboarding process fully completed. Then we have an onboarding call with them, sharing like, hey, this is done. This is what's next. This is what we is pending from your side. So like for after 14 days, let's say if we're working on paid ads and organic. First 14 days, we batch create content beforehand. So typically we like to go with a minimum 2 week cushion, approval cushion. So like for example, yeah, so because usually content is once you lay once it has no structure, then you're gone. Then it's just very difficult to come back from it. But yeah, 2 to 4 weeks cushion minimum. Then we start running campaigns from the second month. So this is like from first 2 weeks onboarding, week 3 to week 4, first batch of posts. Then week 5, we start running ad campaigns concurrently. Then typically we work like on a 3 to 6 month period. Depends if you're working very foundationally, getting things off started from the get go. We work on a 6 month period. Otherwise, 3 month initially should be good to go.
I love it. I like that a lot. How do you acquire customers? So for you, for your business, how do you bring on more clients?
Yeah, great question. Man, I've tried a lot of different things. So I've seen, man. So right now I do three specific channels.
Okay.
One, Facebook, personal branding on Facebook. Now, this might sound weird, but apparently Facebook's creator feature is like super, like it gives you a lot of reach. And a lot of veterans in the game, they're specifically hanging out and lurking around Facebook. So, number one, Facebook, personal branding there. Number two, cold outbound. So, automated outbound outreach. I think everyone's doing that nowadays, especially through AI. And number three, and I feel this is the best channel for me that has worked for me in the past year, 2 years, 4 years, and that is word of mouth and networking. I
Mm,
feel eventually because everyone's working towards AI and automating volume, that's why all these business owners, they're already getting hundreds. Right now, they're going to get 200, 300 emails a day. Let's say, just putting out numbers there. Anyone who tries to gain their trust through email versus someone who comes to them in real time. Let's say if Amar, I want to work with you, I send you 10 emails versus I write you a handwritten letter to your office specifically to you. And I say, hey, I've been watching your stuff, saw your podcast, love how you speak, love your haircut, you're looking sexy. So let's have a call.
yeah,
So
yeah,
most likely you're going to respond to the second version. So
yeah,
what happens is the more we're shifting towards AI, the more
yeah,
we're eventually gonna want human conversations,
for
networking.
sure. That
So
personal touch is going to
yeah,
be much more important. Yeah, I like that a lot.
100%.
When you say cold outbound, is that email, LinkedIn, n neither cold calling? Walk me through that. What do you mean by cold outbound?
Yeah, mostly cold email. I haven't tried cold calling. Cold calling, I feel, is good if you want a direct answer. So if for
Yeah,
emails, you gotta wait 4 or 5 follow up 4 or 5 times. Cold email, I think, is great for more physical businesses. Let's say
yeah.
law firms, real estate, whatever. But if you're going through a huge volume, then I think email works better. Email and LinkedIn.
What do you use in terms of the softwares, like the tools for the cold email?
Yeah. So for cold email, usually for the lead source, we typically use Apollo, Sales Navigator. There's another tool like we try to hunt different tools. Like there's this tool called Exa. So we try to search that up as well, like some free trials and stuff. That's from the lead source. As far as sending goes, instantly we find that easier to work with. Just to automate some parts of the personalization, we use N8N. So I have an automation operator as well. He typically helps me just personalize that at scale.
Awesome. Do you like N8N more than Make?
Damn, that is a great question. Man, in terms of friendliness, I like Make. To be honest, I haven't cracked any at any yet. My
Yeah.
teammates have, but because they've been like diving deep 40 hours a month or something on that,
Yeah.
specifically focused. But eventually, I think there is more potential in N8N compared to
Yeah.
Make. But it's Canva versus Figma, in my opinion. Canva is Make.com, Figma is like more towards N8N.
It's a good analogy. I like that. Yeah, I'm just starting to learn N8N and it's a beast, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
it's exciting. It's exciting. Now is the time to really be diving into this stuff. Also, another one, Clay. Clay is good. I'm sure you've heard of it. And then Smartly.ai. It's like basically like an instantly.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the lead generation process. What does the sales process look like? So once a lead does come in, what are the steps they go through for them to become a paying client?
Yeah, for sure. So it's pretty straightforward. So let's say I send you an email. You want to book in a call with me. We'll have a quick check-in call, discovery call. I don't like calling it a discovery call, more of an intro call, just to
Hmm.
see if we're the right fit, if we can help you or we can't. 15, 20 minutes tops. Then what we do is typically we like to have a follow-up call maximum 3 days later. The reason we have a 3 day limit is because the whenever you have a call with any lead, they're the hottest in the first 3 days. You delay that, the colder they become, and it becomes very difficult to actually convert them. So maximum 3 days. Then we have a follow-up call. In that call, we just lay out the entire proposal in front of them. So hey, this is the timeline, this is the strategy, these are the KPIs. Typically, if they have objections, we handle it within that same call, and then the onboarding if things go well.
Got it. Got it. Do you run the sales, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, ideally, yeah, I try to handle that sales process
You
myself.
you enjoy it?
I do actually. I do. I like talking to people, especially listening. And sales is purely a
Yeah, of
listening thing. I follow this guy, Jeremy Lee Miner, so one of the biggest sales people in the game.
course.
So I feel one of his words to that effect. He said something about being about sales is becoming an expert at sales is more about becoming the right listener and problem solving their particular
Yeah,
problems. If you want to reply to them just for the sake of getting that sale, that energy, it translates.
100.
So I try to do sales as ethically as I can. If I genuinely don't feel like this guy has, because there have been times when people are actually in a crunch of money, but they want to invest, and you know that as a salesperson, if you pull the right triggers, that you can actually manipulate them to giving money. But that is where the ethical part comes in. Do you actually want this person to just potentially gamble, or do you want them to rather stay safe? So it's
Yeah,
sometimes I think that the ethical part is something that a lot of people unfortunately lack in sales, because based on what I've been taught. But
yeah,
yeah, I think that's a moral compass there.
yeah, for sure. I completely agree. One of my favorite lines is the only difference between manipulation and persuasion is intention. So the
Mm.
intention of the person
Beautiful.
behind it. And I actually don't know where I got that. I think I might have made that up. I honestly don't, I don't
That
know.
can be the title, man. That can be the title.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
stealing.
It sounds good. It sounds, yeah, just say I heard this from a friend named Namar. There you go. But
Awesome.
walk me through, how do you see the industry you're in evolving? What are you focused on the most moving forward, let's say over the next
Interesting,
year?
man. So, in terms of AI and marketing agencies, so I see eventually marketing agencies are going to split into one of two spectrums. One are going to go, a lot of SMMAs in the past, they're either becoming production houses, like full on video production, shooting, editing, everything, full on creative, or they're going high towards the AI side, becoming an AI powered automation or AI powered marketing agency.
Got it.
So eventually, I see the traditional model. You must have seen it today as well. A lot of traditional models are dead. As you can find, pick up a rock, you find any social media marketer. Like everyone's doing that. There's little to no barrier of entry, mainly because of these AI tools. So eventually, I see these marketing agencies, number one, going to split into two, and the nature of work is going to be more towards more rev share oriented and more equity centric. So marketing agencies are going to eventually start partnering up. It are going to become less as agencies and more towards partners, and that's somewhere we want to proceed towards as well. We've been
Hmm.
working on it for the past 2 years. So instead of us being just like a client or another vendor to them, we actually embed our whole team within their team and become simultaneous growth operators as well. We've been doing this, and because of this, not only have we seen higher results in their marketing, but also we've seen great retention as well. Because if, let's say, you're a business, right? You're hiring a marketing agency for ads, and at the same time, I'm giving you, let's say, CRO tips, right? Conversion rate optimization tips, and I'm consulting on your product as well. You're like, this guy is heavily involved in my own business. There's more of a personal touch to it. So, in essence, what I mean is marketing partnerships is going to rise more in the next 5 to 10 years compared to marketing agencies.
I like that. What do you feel like are the biggest challenges you're facing right now as the business owner?
That is a great question. In terms of me as a business owner, I would say trying to scale with quality. So the
Mm,
thing is, now this could be a mindset thing as well, but I'm a very quality centric person, and with if you're quality centric, you typically like to move slow. I see a lot of agencies because I've worked in them, I've worked with them, and I've consulted them, and I've seen a lot of agencies. They get the client, then they work on the hiring part, and because of that, they work with the client for 2 3 months. The client cries like, "Hey, I got robbed by this marketing agency." They think they've done a good job because, and they try to absolve themselves, the agency absolves themselves of all issues. Hey, they weren't clear about their idea or they weren't clear about the business. Now, because I've seen that firsthand throughout different cases and regions, I try to rather move slow, but if you want to move slow in the long run, it means having scalability issues. So I would say particularly that, but I think that's purely a recruitment thing. For
mm,
the good thing is I have recently hired a couple of people, and I used to think all these like top business owners when they were talking about hiring the right person, I used to think, man, hiring isn't like what's so big about hiring?
mm,
But now that I really want to, let's say if I want to take a vacation next week, I can
yep,
just drop a message in the group and I know my team will take care of everything.
yep.
So I understood that once I actually went into the
Yeah.
agency route. Yeah.
Let's go into a quick closing lightning round. I'll rattle off some questions at you, and then just the first thing that comes to mind, let me know. What's one tool or resource that's been a game changer for you in your company?
Claude, ChatGPT, I would say, yeah.
Basics. Fair enough.
Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice you've received around scaling your company?
Stay small enough, long enough, and then you'll grow big enough soon enough.
Where'd you get that?
I follow this guy, School of Hard Knocks. So
Yes. Hell
yeah,
yeah.
he interviews entrepreneurs. I saw this like from one of his reels.
I
Classic.
love I love that.
Yeah.
What's one piece of advice you'd give to new entrepreneurs starting in 2025?
So this is going to be very tactical. First of all, take out a piece of paper or a digital file. List down like 5 to 10 things that you want to do. Usually at the start, you're confused. You want to do the right thing. You don't have to focus on doing the right thing. You just have to focus on doing a thing.
Mm,
So map out 10 things that are on top of your mind. Step two, then you start ranking them in terms of how much you like it. Now, focus on the word like. So now you have 4 or 5 things on your list. Now pick any specific one and then spend the next 90 days perfecting your craft in that,
wow.
trying to acquire that skill or sell that skill or whatever that you want to do. After 90 days, if you see little to no results, then you hop on to the next one. Now,
Wow.
I tried doing this at the start. I don't think I've mentioned this in this podcast, but initially I started off doing e-commerce. I failed. I did local e-commerce. I failed that. Then I went into NFT marketing. I failed that as well. Went into crypto a couple of months because it was like 2022 or something. So I tried all these different things. I went into Amazon and this and that. I would say from I jumped on 5 different things, but at this point, I know I can work with any of these businesses specifically because of the knowledge I acquired there. So, best case scenario, you build a business out of it, you start selling, life is great.
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, you acquire a skill, you may not earn from it, but you're going to acquire that skill and that will stay with you for the rest of your life.
I love
So
That's a
mindset.
great piece of advice. I think one thing that is important is having the mentality of not quitting after the first couple failures, if that happens. And I had the same experience for me where I tried an SEO agency, I tried drop shipping, I did crypto and I lost basically like the first couple $100,000 that I've ever made in my life, I lost in crypto, which
Oh
was
shit.
that was tough. You come back and you realize that every experience is making you a stronger version of yourself. And that mentality is important. So I'm curious for you, what kept you from not giving up after trying a couple things and having them not work out? Because a lot of people would have already quit before you even started what you're doing today.
Damn. I would say so. Might sound very cliche, but when your why is strong enough, it keeps on you. You're driven regardless of whatever motivation that may come or go. So I used to play a lot of soccer, right? So I believe sports and business they go like hand in hand because in a lot of nature, in a lot of different aspects.
Yeah.
So one thing I learned in soccer was if you have a good game, stop gloating because the game has ended. The next game is still there. If
Mm.
you have a bad game, stop crying about it. The next game is coming. So eventually the whole your mind becomes attuned to, and my mind basically became attuned towards looking into the next step. So I could have two options, right? Either I can just reminisce the past, oh shit, like what happened, oh I did so and so, or I could just say what's done is done, can't do shit about it, might as well just I have nothing to lose. Again, one of the biggest lessons by Hormozy as well. If there's nothing more dangerous than a man who has nothing to lose.
I like that a lot. That's powerful. What's the best way for people to reach you?
So you can message me on LinkedIn. I think that's a channel I regularly open. You can reach out to me through Facebook. I'll drop a link there as well. Or email. I think either of these three work.
Awesome. Or email, you said?
Yeah, awesome. I
Where
check
can
my email
people
often.
Yeah, where can people find your email? Or do you want to mention it right now?
Yeah, Maarij at BeFoundSocial.co. Pretty long, but I'll
Yeah.
let you do the marketing part.
Awesome. So that wraps up another insightful episode of Founders Future. My friend, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun. And thank you for sharing your journey, your insights with us today. If you're a listener, if you're listening to this, and you're inspired by today's conversation, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. And if you're looking to scale your business, if you're a coach, consultant, or an agency, and you want to scale and enhance your sales and marketing efforts, visit closers.io to discover how we can support your growth journey. Until then, keep on climbing.